Hey guys!
Welcome to the adventures and welcome to a new year.
We're still alive and it's 2025.
If you've been following us for a little while, which some of you have for like 7 years, then you guys know that we always try to do a recap and then what does next year look like. So let's get into that.
Last week we just took off because we just needed some downtime.
We've missed a lot of Christmas, and most years we've been working on most of the holidays, and so early in the year we had told the boss that this Christmas that we had wanted off, and so we were blessed, and after 8 years we got a Christmas off.
Yay!
So last year we had some pretty big plans in many different areas, so we decided we were going to break it down into 3 different things to help you guys out, and here comes little one again. Little Miss Willie Jean. So we'll start out with the truck. You guys know that we are huge into making our truck into a home, and it's really stayed the way that we originally set it up for the most part.
For the most part. We've had some issues with the hot water thing. We've tried a couple of different hot water things that didn't really work too well.
But the reason they didn't work is
just
because
not made
we're
to be bouncing in
team
this truck.
drivers, and we drive a lot of miles, and we're on some really rough roads. So if you've watched any of our old videos, some of the different systems, one was called the hike crew. Honestly, I think, you tell me your opinion, if you were a solo driver and you drove just a standard couple thousand miles a week, it'd probably still work just fine for you guys. But remember, we're team drivers, so it takes about, we do of average of like a solo driver like 3 years and 1 year.
And if you wanted to use it to go camping or something, it'd probably be awesome for that, but it just didn't work out for what we needed it to.
That's right. But having the couch that is futon style, that is a bed and a couch, the organization with cooking in the cab, so having the refrigerator really organized, our appliances, the air fryer and the electric skillet, taking the cabinet doors off the cabinet, taking out the shelf because we're in an international, the step kind of shelf thing. That's
the knee buster, the shin buster.
Yeah, or if you're Angela and you try to bend down and you get in the fridge and you sit on the step. Yeah, but I'm saying all the things that we organized it and the way that we are operating it, it's been going great. And it's allowed us to really execute some other areas, our sleep environment, making sure we're sleeping really great, which, you know, we've had the same sleep system now for, I don't know, like 5 years maybe?
It's been a few.
Yeah, so exactly. The Froley sleep system has been amazing, still super love it, sleeping elevated, really love that still, sound machine, extra curtains, so we're sleeping, you know, fairly well for team drivers, especially compared to like some of the other ones that we talked to. Like, we do pretty good.
Unless you're going through Richmond, Virginia, then forget it.
Forget it. Or Indiana, forget it.
Yeah.
But it's allowed us to improve our health in other ways. So we continue to cook more from scratch. We are able then to, when we are home on our weekends, so we always get to spend our 34-hour reset at home because we're in a very dedicated, that's just what we have worked out and we think works best for us. So we're able to feel more energized when we get out of the truck so we can do more things on our reset at home. And so we're cooking more from scratch, sourcing it from more local farmers. So our goal is to one day never shop at a grocery store except for Dr. Pepper.
So when you cook from scratch, it creates dirty dishes, and that has been a real struggle. You know, we mentioned the propane water heater. So I was just scratching my head, like, how can I do this? How can I get hot water in here and not be a major undertaking? And it just, I don't know, a fish tank water heater, and it's actually working fairly well. It doesn't get the water up to, you know, 100 degrees. It's like 94 degrees, but it helps when you're trying to clean off grease off your dishes.
Yeah.
It's working all right so far.
So we're 3 weeks in. So stay tuned into next year, because we do like to give everything that we talk about, all the systems, all of the different ways that we live life in the truck, we give it a substantial amount of time before we present that information to you guys. So we kind of study our own selves, and then after sometimes we decide that it's not worthy to come to you guys, or sometimes it is. So we will be making a video on that as long as it continues to work as well as it does. So we're really excited to have a really simple and really affordable way to bring hot water into the truck for dishes or maybe for some of you, for shower.
We'll say warm water. I don't think I'd like to take a 93-degree shower,
I wouldn't
but
mind.
she wouldn't mind.
But I've also been able to sustain this year into exercising 3 to 4 times a week here in the truck. And we don't have a scale at home, but I use the truck stop scales, TAs. I don't know if many of you know, but TA and Petros do have workout centers in them. We're never stopped long enough to use it, but I check on the scale, and I also take measurements because it's a little easier. And I have to say, I've gotten a little smaller.
I have to say, what she lost, I gained. Actually, it's from Mother's homemade cookies.
My mom makes him lots of Christmas cookies.
Lots of Christmas cookies.
We are continuously making more lifestyle changes to live better quality of life while on the road, and we drive about 5,000 miles a week. And so, you guys, it can be done. It's simple little tiny things, micro hacking. Like, really, I call it micro hacking because they're tiny little fragments of time that make a big difference and a big impact into a year spectrum or years spectrum of living.
So another big impact that we have is what we got done at home this year, which is quite an undertaking. We replaced 19 windows in our home, and
We cash flowed it because of trucking.
now the winter time is coming. It seems to be making a pretty good difference. We saved a lot of money doing it ourselves. We've had estimates anywhere between $85,000 to $25,000. We bought the windows ourselves for $14,000, and they're not junk windows. They're actually pretty good ones. So
Yeah, and that was a really big project. We had never installed windows before, so it was a learning curve. And because we have a log cabin, it was like, it's a custom home, which equals harder to do, but we did it.
Nothing was level, but
We did it. We did it. We saved a ton of money, and we did it ourselves. We also stained the house again. Then we also paid off some towards the mortgage. So I don't remember how much progress we made.
not
as much as we wanted. But that's okay because we cash flowed those projects as well. And was it the end of last year we had bought our newer vehicle, and so at the beginning of the year we had a lot of vehicle trouble. I don't know. We stopped counting, but we probably put over like probably around $10,000 into everything with the new vehicle, in addition to paying cash for that vehicle. So yeah, the purpose of us being on the road is to pay off our house and to have it fully remodeled, so that it can equal sustainable retirement, especially for Scott.
I was just running some figures when we were in Indiana, talking to my brother-in-law, and what is a car payment now? I don't even know. He bought a 2025 Expedition, $67,000 for a vehicle, which to me is
crazy.
I'll never see it. I'll never do it. I can't even fathom it.
No wonder people can't retire. But you guys, that's why we want to help you guys learn the lifestyle of trucking. How can you live life in the truck so you can save a ton of money and let your money have a big impact in your life? And so that's why we are team driving, so we can retire incredibly young, be debt free, and really get ahead. And because of that, fast forward, like Scott said, we're really out of tune with society in many areas, including even buying groceries.
I'll just share a little bit. So what some people might make a month during that mortgage payment, we actually put into a Roth IRA. So something that's actually going to make us money unless the stock market crashes. But rich people ain't going to let the stock market crash because they'll lose way too much money. It's not going to happen.
Good point. Good point. So, yeah, this year for the house, we are going to kind of slow the pace. Last year we did a lot of construction projects on the house, and that was awesome, but we really want to take all the money and really knock out the mortgage in the next 16 months. So that's where we're going to really focus hard on, is letting all of the money go towards paying off that mortgage. And so there's a lot of projects that we started that are nowhere near done or half done. Even like 2 years ago, there was a major ice storm in the winter, and we just started cutting down the trees that fell 2 years ago.
From all the vines up in the top of the trees, and they collected ice, and the old weak trees just fell.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
So cleaning up the grounds, organizing our house more, completing, like I have an art studio I've been building for 3 years, finish or get it more organized so I can start using the art studio more regularly. He has a pickup truck.
I do have an 80 Chevy stepside that I got a huge pile of parts for, and it's just sitting right now, and he needs some attention because whoever had him before put wood blocks underneath the cab for cab risers. They tried to do some kind of a lift kit or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, we live in a very country area. I'll just say
it
that.
came from Virginia. It's probably somewhere in the country in Virginia. Just saying. Maybe close to West Virginia. I don't know.
And then we also have a walk-in refrigerator left over from our food truck business, and we are gonna dig a hole and bury it.
Well, we tried to sell it, but we didn't really get any takers on it, so we're just gonna make a root cellar out of it. Dig a hole, put it in the side, and it's already insulated, has a big heavy-duty door. Bury it, and we'll have a nice cold place to store stuff all throughout the year.
Yeah, because another thing that we really got to accomplish big at home this year is getting more of our food locally sourced. And so I was able to can a whole bunch of food, put away a bunch of different kinds of meat. And so really that's how we're also going to crunch, is we saved a ton of money preloading our groceries and canning, preserving, freezing, all of that good stuff. So it's really the root cellar is gonna give our food a home long term, so that it makes it easier. But we don't really have to go to the grocery store for like months and months and months. Like probably, I mean, we need Dr. Pepper and chips. We need Dr. Pepper and chips. Okay, let me correct.
I need chips. I need chips. I need chips for my hips.
This guy, he's too much.
Crazy.
He's too much. But overall, like, we're not going to be buying meat and vegetables from the grocery store. That's my point. Okay. But yeah, and then so that's kind of what we're looking forward into next year, is just continue to learn more ways of canning, preserving, homesteading lifestyle, sustainable lifestyle, more organization at our house, so that way in 16 months when we step out of the truck, it's an easier transition, because it is a very, very, very difficult transition to go from a highly scheduled lifestyle, which is trucking, which that's why many people can't live it, is because they can't get the schedule down, the routine down, to having an open book of time.
Or maybe being a pastor.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah. That's
Never
right.
know.
The last thing we're going to update on is our church. So we don't talk about this often. Not because we're not proud of it, but we like to be humble, in all honesty, and not say, look at us. Because it's look at God. Don't follow man. Don't follow us. Follow God. But crazy long story short, we started our own church last year. And so we're 1 year in. Not
affiliated, not supported by any
denominations or any networks.
Nope, all out of network. It's a church. It's actually a beautiful old chapel.
Yeah, it's a 1942 military chapel on a decommissioned military base, just 3 miles from our house. And so it's been going really, really great. We started out with no money, no pastor, no worship, no instruments. We didn't even have heat. We didn't have running water. we didn't even have occupancy that we could have people in the old chapel. So we did a whole bunch of things this last year, and we really just continuously walked in faith, and God provided, and we were able to get heating and air conditioning. We were able to get water. And we have had rotating pastors, so every Sunday there's been a pastor or somebody to give the message. So we're Bible teaching, and then we do a variety of live worship to video worship. And we started out with like maybe 30 people in a rotation, but sometimes maybe it was just like 4 people that would show up.
Yeah, some days you struggle.
A year ago.
It's a struggle. Some days not very many people shows up. Christmas Eve we had 58 people. So
yeah, fast forward a year, and we have not put it out in our community very much.
Not done any advertising because we just really weren't ready yet. We were step by step painting this and redoing the
I
bathroom.
mean, you don't advertise and say, come sit in our church that's 90 degrees and here's a hand fan.
Yeah, come and join this hot mess.
So we just thought that until we got the heating and air conditioning and water and like a certain level of cleanliness, that it probably wasn't a good idea to invite people, because today's churches are very polished and we're very unpolished, and that's okay. And that is working for us. It's working really, really great. As he said, Christmas Eve was wonderful.
Yeah.
It went really, really good. And on average, I would say we have 60 people in a month that cycle through. So not 60 people every single Sunday, but 60 people that consider the chapel their home. And so then at the end of the year, well, through the whole year, I should say, this guy has been feeling God wrestle with him a good bit. And a lot of people have come and said,
you're going to be a pastor.
and he says,
I don't think so. I'm too busy with all these lights and these running cables and hanging TVs and running the computer and doing the sound.
And driving a truck.
And lovely Miss Dottie comes in and says, you don't need an education for all that. You just need to preach from the Bible. You're going to be a pastor. And I kind of blew it off. Of course, my lovely wife said so too. And our friend Kimmy said about a year and a half ago, smart butt started calling me Pastor Scott. And
and he wasn't listening to his lovely wife. So,
well,
little insight, I just started praying, and I said, God, if he's not going to hear my voice, would you please send him other people so he would hear them? And so, lastly, God had to send somebody
all the way from Texas.
Yeah, pastor way from Texas, just to come to preach and give Scott the message that indeed he is supposed to be a pastor, possibly, and that he really needed to explore that. And so he's been exploring it. And in 2 weeks, he'll give his first message at Richie Chapel.
And we'll see how it goes. Either they'll throw beer bottles at me or it'll be all right. Well,
no, they won't. They won't. So that's exciting. So we still have a lot of projects to do with the chapel. It's pretty much going to be like never ending. I mean, it's a 1942 military chapel. Like, it's always going to have work. If you want to follow it, it's Richie Chapel. And I'll put the links down below so you can follow. We do have a Facebook, Instagram, and a website app. So that way you guys can, you can follow along and see what we're doing there. We're excited. We're just enjoying, and not always enjoying, I'll just be honest. We're in the season of hustle. Like, God has us doing many big things and great things, and we just want to be obedient. We are living the life that we feel that God has called us to. It's not always easy being in this truck, being away, sacrificing so deeply and working so hard, but we know that God has called us to it, and we know that when we're obedient and we are faithful and where God has called us, he will bless us big.
Yep.
And so we are just going to do what we have to do, and so that we can live our best blessed life. And we want to encourage you guys too. Like, right now, obviously, if you're watching our channel, you're probably in trucking, or your husband is in trucking. What is trucking doing for you, for your family, for your future? For us, trucking is paying off our mortgage and allowing us to step out of the truck, retire very young, and go into full-time ministry.
I've heard the question many times is, why are you so eager to get your mortgage paid off? If you go back and look at your closing papers, there's a paper in there called Truth in Lending. Woo. So if you look at that, and if you let that go over the full term length of the loan, however you do it, 15 years, 30 years, whatever, you're paying double for the house, basically. If you let it go 30 years, if you pay $200,000 for a house, you're paying $400,000
if not
for
triple
it, because you are paying that mortgage company $200,000 to loan you the money to buy the house.
I don't know about you, but I want to retire. Like, and retirement does not equal sitting at home doing nothing all day.
No.
Like, retire means I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can go and minister to a single mom, or have lunch with a widowed 95-year-old lady because she's lost all of her children and she's already buried grandchildren. Like, I want to be able to go out and try to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so that means I need to be out of this truck. So I'm not so enslaved by it. While we love trucking, while I love trucking, I miss out on a lot of life. Like we started out, we got to take Christmas off this year. That's the first. It's the first. So 17 years, like, it's a deep sacrifice, and he's been doing it way longer. So you guys, another thing we constantly talk about is like, maybe you're feeling discouraged and you feel like you're not making it in the industry and you just can't see how we're doing what we're doing. If you guys want coach or you want some help, like, please comment below, like reach out to us. Facebook, Instagram is the easiest way to reach out. All the links are down below, but we have been mentoring one couple particular, and so I really want to give them a shout out. We're going to try to arrange to do a video with them, but that is Lily and Dan. Yeah, I'm excited to say that they were like, help us make a few changes, because if not, we want to quit. And so they made a couple changes that we recommended to them, and then they really felt called and that they wanted to pay off their mortgage too. So one of their other friends was like, why don't you pay off your mortgage early? And then I echoed, like, why don't you pay off your mortgage? Like, you're in the truck, you're making big money, why don't y'all do it? And so they did for Christmas, the day before Christmas, the Monday of Christmas. And then they got news on Christmas Eve morning that their house had been fully paid off.
Way to go, Lily. Way to go, Dan.
Yeah, we're so proud of you guys. So if there's any way we can help any of you just achieve more things that you want in life, like, we're here. We just want to help.
If you're not familiar with the Dave Ramsey class, we've actually taught that many times, but he says over and over and over again, live like no one else, which means it may not be easy, there may be a lot of challenges, but live like no one else so you can live and give like no one else.
That's right. So that's why we made our truck into our home, because it makes it a little easier while we're out here hustling, you guys, because we know what we want to do in the future. And so I hope this was encouraging. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Things I want to do is just to share more about like the routine and the rhythm that we do, like cooking from scratch. How do we cook in the truck? How do I exercise regularly? How do we have our sleep environment? Retouch on some of those, because I know we have so many more subscribers, and some of that content is really, really old, and YouTube makes it near impossible to find. So we're going to update some of that footage. But if there's something that there's particular that you want to know, or there's a way we can help, hours of service, how do we split our hours with team driving, all kinds of things. Like, that's what we're going to do this year. We're really going to focus on that, and also make it easier for you to get things. So, I don't know, make an Amazon affiliate store, do different. We already have that, but make it more relevant, and make the content so that way it makes it easier for you guys when you're on the road to just be able to put things into action a lot easier, not really have to think too much in it. We want to take the thinking out of it, and you guys can just be doing. All right, but y'all stay safe, and I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and you have a blessed New Year.
Bye.